And you mentioned the name of Trejan Bridges and also Seth McGowan. So, what do we know for sure? What has been confirmed, if anything, regarding their status on the Oklahoma football team?
Yeah, there's not the only thing that's really for sure right now are both of those kids have been suspended by the Oklahoma Athletic Department pending further investigation. What we do know is there was an alleged robbery, there was an alleged a little bit of an assault, and I think that there was a um, I don't know if there's anything outside of that that's been really confirmed at this point. Right now, the individual, the victim, is unwilling to press charges. So, not sure what. Not certainly the DA could go forward, and he has picked out Trajan Bridges from an Oklahoma roster. Trajan Bridges and Seth McGowan as two of the people that are in interest, but there's no arrests that have been made at this point. So I think, given the fact of you certainly operate under the innocent until proven guilty, moniker. But at the same time, with Bridges' prior, issues with the marijuana charges from a couple years ago, and then, on top of that, he had to be in a position where he was squeaky clean. So I think going forward for us, we certainly don't know anything. We probably won't ever know exactly what the extent of what happened unless they are certainly charged by the DA. But I think at this point, Oklahoma is probably operating under the assumption that those two individuals won't be part of the team anymore. And some of the things that I've heard from Lincoln Riley really took this hard. Really took it hard, just in terms of obviously the individual kids' perspective, but then also from a team perspective. Made a point to talk to the team and talk to each individual on the team and let them know, when you're outside of these walls, just a kind of a reminder that you're always representing not only yourself but your family, but you're also representing the school. And even if these things are false, kind of the thought is out there among the media that it could be construed as a poorly ran program or a dirty program, and that's certainly something Riley doesn't want to have hanging over this Oklahoma team. So I think it's been a week that we haven't learned a whole lot, but I think at this point, all parties are really operating under the assumption that those two individuals probably won't be back this year, I should say.
So if we take that next step from a football standpoint, Seth McGowan, Trejan Bridges, how meaningful are those losses? How would they impact those position units?
So let's start with Seth McGowan. I think he's a kid that was really kind of thrust into action a little bit, specifically early on. Didn't play a whole lot towards the middle of the year with kind of Ramondre Stevenson and TJ Pledger and even Marcus Major getting more carries in the offense. Played very well in the Florida game. Almost had 100 yards rushing and receiving in that game against Florida. So had a really good end to the season, kind of up and down during the season. Have heard that he would kind of fallen down the depth chart a little bit, probably third or fourth string running back really at this point in the spring. So not a huge loss for Oklahoma. Maybe depth wise it is. When you look at who all they got right now, you got Eric Gray, you've got Kennedy Brooks, you've got Marcus Major, and then you got Mikey Henderson. So you've got four guys there. I think probably they would like to have a fifth. Not sure, if they'll go the transfer portal route to look for another kid, or they'll just hold firm with those four guys, because if you run into a couple of injuries, you're extremely thin at some point in the season. And then when you look at Trajan Bridges, 5-star guy, he's never really materialized into the guy that they thought he was going to be. That's kind of happened this spring. He was probably one of the two most impressive receivers thus far through the spring. So I think, given the fact he only has 9 catches in his career, so I think you have one school of thought, for Oklahoma fans just kind of looking at it, I don't think it's going to be a big deal to replace those 9 career catches, but on the same other side, the upside for Bridges is there. So I think that's a big reason why you saw Oklahoma go into the transfer portal for Mike Woods. Theo Weiss has been nursing a little bit of a lower leg injury through spring camp, and they've kind of shut him down. So, from a depth perspective, they don't have a ton of depth right there. They have another kid that's going to be coming in the fall, Jalil Farouk. But, outside of Jaden Hazelwood, they have Drake Stoops, they have Marvin Mims, Mario Williams, a true freshman, but they don't have a ton of depth there. So I think if the biggest impact for me is probably from a depth, but maybe not necessarily immediate playing time at this point.
Jason, so Oklahoma played 11 games last year. I see where McGowan played 7, and even in those Big 12 games that he played, he was used pretty heavily. He wasn't the main guy by any stretch, but he had 13 carries against Kansas State, 12 against Iowa State in the loss in the regular season, 11 against TCU, 10 against Texas Tech. Was he not playing those other 4 games, as you recall, because of injury, or was it a decision based on?
I think it was just a coach's decision based on who they had available. They got to a point towards the kind of latter in the season. Those games that you mentioned were kind of early in the conference season. Iowa State, Kansas State, and then when Ramondre Stevenson came back, he got typically got 60, 65, 70% of the carries, with TJ Pledger spelling him a little bit more. So I think it wasn't really anything from an injury perspective. It was just really more the Riley and the offensive guys liked those other guys a little bit better.
6.4 yards per carry looks good. That 73-yard run against Florida in the Cotton Bowl doesn't hurt that average, though. But when he gained 73 out of 370 on 1 carry in the Cotton Bowl, and as you mentioned, 70 yards through the air in that game against Florida, ran for, in the tougher games of the season in conference play, 5.6 against Kansas State, 3.9 against Iowa State, TCU 3.7, and 5.8 on 10 carries against Texas Tech. And again, the 5-star Trey Bridges, also his future uncertain in Norman. Got Jason Ray on the line from Last Word on College Football. So if you have yet to check out the work there at Last Word on College Football, check out, of course, Jason's work. We got Kevin McGuffey joins us on a regular basis, and Tony Siracusa. Jump on over there. And again, check out their work on college football, as they have helped us out here for years and years and years. And I'm indebted to all these guys for their support. And so, again, check out Last Word on College Football. All right, so we got the spring game coming up on Saturday. Again, that's at 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern.